This week I took some vacation time and flew to Quebec City for the Canadian Institute of Planners annual conference called Accent on Planning, #Accent 2016. My Accent 2016 began with a group bike ride from the Hilton Quebec to the Wendake First Nation and back again. So in this video we're going to see different examples of cycling infrastructure that we experienced on the bike ride. So stay tuned, it was a fun ride and I hope you enjoy watching. After a quick safety brief, we headed out in two large groups. We rode in mixed traffic from the heart of downtown into quieter neighborhood streets. The grid pattern can encourage drivers to speed through neighborhoods, so some intersections are broken up with these diverters that allow pedestrians and cyclists through, but not drivers. We then made our way to National Battlefields Park in the Plains of Abraham to try out a brand new multi-use path down Gilmore Hill. This path includes historic information boards and public art representing the British advancing up on the city. After a hop, skip, and a jump, we were on the Samuel de Champlain Promenade along the St. Lawrence River. Here's an example of one of the many ways engineers have decided to slow down cyclists before they approach intersections. We understand intuitively that by putting obstacles in front of people and narrowing their path, it slows them down and improves safety. But we're generally only willing to do this for pedestrians and cyclists, and not so much for drivers. You'll see a few more examples of this sort of thing throughout the video, so keep your eyes open. Heading back along the promenade provided some great views of the river and the city. These lookouts provide destinations that encourage people to use the trail recreationally, either for fitness or fun or as a family or because they're on vacation. It's something to do and it's healthy and safe. Here's another view of the switchback on Gilmore Hill, and more public art that helps create a sense of place. As we skirted along the lower town, the path was closed due to construction, so a temporary bike lane was laid out using flexible bollards in place of a motor vehicle lane. Riding along the river was fun, but it wasn't clear to me how this path might be used for daily transportation, especially when the roads in the area provide a more direct route between destinations. There are enough bike paths here that they've put up signs with distances to connections with other paths. Here, we worked our way through industrial areas safely separated from truck traffic and pedestrians. Then the path took us beneath an elevated expressway. Good infrastructure like this means families can safely bike from place to place. It took some effort to negotiate with the rail company, but these obstacles effectively slow cyclists and improve safety through the rail yard. Our adventure continued into the suburbs, where wide rights-of-way have been put to good use by including safely separated bike paths. This decommissioned rail line was converted into multi-use trail several kilometers long. It connects industrial areas, residential areas, parks, and arterial roads. It works great for recreational use, but also for longer distance commuters. Rather than being a single path through an area, alone on its own in the woods, it connects with a network of other on-street bike lanes, often separated with flex posts like this. Did I mention we were far from the only people using this trail? Other group tours, individuals, pairs, and families were taking advantage of this beautiful weather on this Tuesday morning. Finally, after more than 2 hours of pedaling over 30 kilometers, we got to Wendake First Nation and our reward, lunch at the Hotel Musee Premiere Nations. A beautiful venue and a great meal. But we weren't done yet. We still had to head back 20 kilometers through the suburbs. We started back on a 3-meter multi-use path next to a 1.5-meter sidewalk. It's not perfect, but it's a good width, with clear separation between pedestrians, cyclists, and the road. With hundreds of meters between intersections, this path works well recreationally or for long-distance commuting, but not for short trips, and being on just one side of the highway does nothing for people on the other side of the road. Continuing through a more urban, but still car-dominated area, we saw some good examples of managing space for pedestrians, cyclists, and transit users, But again, keeping everything on one side of the road reduces its utility somewhat. Crossings proved to be fairly dicey for our large group, but even for an individual, I could see a high potential for conflicts. For this stretch of the trip, we rode in the center median of a twinned section of Boulevard Pierre Bertrand. We were safely separated from traffic, but also from all the other shopping and jobs along the road. Pedestrians walked on the grass boulevards and waited for buses and shelters without sidewalks leading to them. At the end of the median, we were provided with an on-street bike lane separated with flex posts that at least provided some access to the land uses on either side of the street. You can see here how the bike lane is separate from the boulevard where people set out their garbage and where the city erects signage and other infrastructure. The speed limit is 50 kilometers per hour, and full separation would be nice, but not if it puts cyclists in conflict with pedestrians, garbage, and all that other stuff that goes in a boulevard. As we get closer to the urban core of the city, we're able to wind through the network of quiet, narrow streets, avoiding high-speed traffic. Then, when there's no alternative to an arterial road, we're provided with dedicated space to ride once again. On one-way streets designed to discourage shortcuts, cyclists are provided with contra-flow bike lanes so they can continue going in the most direct path. Finally, we arrived at our destination safe and sound using this invisible bike lane. Quebec City isn't some utopia of perfect cycling infrastructure, and as you can see, there are still a lot of cars and trucks on the roads, but there are lessons to be learned here. For me, the big takeaway is, if a city wants to build a bike network, it won't let hills or snow or spread out land uses or trucking routes get in its way. It will find solutions to those challenges if it values the safety of cyclists and sees cycling as a mode of transportation, not just as a hobby. I'm bringing these lessons back to Sudbury. You can follow my efforts to make transportation options safer, more efficient, and more affordable by subscribing to this YouTube channel, visiting sudburymoves.ca, or following me on Twitter at WestEndMatt. In the meantime, be excellent to each other.